The House will be in order. The chair lays before the House a communication from the Speaker.
The Speaker's Rooms, Washington, D.C., February 25th, 2025. I hereby appoint the Honorable Earl L. Buddy Carter to act as Speaker Pro Tempore on this day. Signed, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Pursuant to the order of the House of January 3rd, 2025, the chair will now recognize members from lists submitted by the majority and minority leaders for morning hour debate. The chair will alternate recognition between the parties with time equally allocated between the parties and each member other than the majority and minority leaders and the minority whip limited to 5 minutes, but in no event shall debate continue beyond 11:50 a.m. The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. McClintock, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, our country's just suffered the largest illegal mass migration in history. Over 4 years, the Democrats opened our borders and allowed an unvetted and largely impoverished population of nearly 8 million to illegally enter our country, a population the size of Washington State. This illegal mass migration has overwhelmed our public schools, public hospitals, homeless shelters, food banks, law enforcement, and is costing American taxpayers $160 billion a year to support. Worst of all, it has introduced into our country the most violent criminal gangs and offenders on the planet. It has also brought to a head the fundamental question of whether any person in the world can break into our country, have a baby at taxpayer expense, have that baby declared an American citizen, and then use that as a pretext to remain. Now, President Trump has issued an executive order challenging that notion for all future births. The Democrats call this a threat to democracy and a constitutional crisis. Well, that's what they call anything they disagree with these days. But it is neither. It is the Constitution functioning as it should. The President has created a dispute arising from a difference of opinion in interpreting the Constitution. Opponents in this dispute have appealed to the courts, as they should. And now the courts will resolve this dispute under the terms of our Constitution. Meanwhile, I have a question for the Democrats. If the 14th Amendment actually confers automatic citizenship to anyone born here, wouldn't it have said all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States? That's simple enough. But that's not what it says. It says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. Well, what does that mean? We know that it means the children of former slaves are citizens. That's its stated purpose in the plain language of the amendment, passed, by the way, over the objections of the Democratic Party. We know from the congressional debate that its authors understood it to exclude foreign nationals who are merely passing through the country. The question of our time is whether those who have illegally entered our country in defiance of our laws and who are subject to deportation under those laws can be considered having accepted the jurisdiction of the laws that their very presence defies. The Supreme Court has never considered this question. The closest it came was the Ark decision 127 years ago. But that applied to legal immigrants who had accepted the jurisdiction of the United States by obeying its immigration laws and who had taken up legal permanent residence subject to a treaty ratified by the Senate. Does the President have the authority by the executive orders to clear up this matter as part of his organic constitutional responsibility to take care that the laws be faithfully executed? I don't know. Obama claimed the authority to create a legal residency for DACA beneficiaries out of thin air, so maybe he does. The court will ultimately rule. So does the Congress have the authority to clear up this matter by statute? Well, only if that statute doesn't contradict the Constitution. And here's the fine point of the matter. If the 14th Amendment does not give automatic birthright citizenship to the children of those here illegally and temporarily, then no law should be necessary to deny them citizenship in the future because no law ever extended that right in the first place. In that case, the President's executive order is merely declaratory of existing law. Now, several lower courts have stayed the president's executive order, and no one is screaming, that's a constitutional crisis, even though many of us strenuously disagree with those judges, just as strenuously as the left disagrees with the president. Ultimately, though, we have faith in our Constitution, and as the case progresses through the courts, we will get a clear and authoritative ruling that will then determine whether the president's order stands or whether Congress needs to act either by statute or constitutional amendment. To call this a constitutional crisis is a kind of absurd and juvenile hyperbole that passes for argument these days by the woke left. And I look forward to returning to society someday when we can have civil discussions over high principles as our founders envisioned. I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New Jersey, Miss McIver, for 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the New Jersey 10 winners of the 2024 Congressional App Challenge. Aman, Alexa, Charlie, and Gabriel teamed up to make Tailored Trivia. The app allows users to create customized trivia games that make studying and memorization more interactive. This tool lets students test SAT vocab words, learn phrases in new languages, and quiz their classmates. In creating this app, Aman, Alexa, Charlie, and Gabriel also grew their skills in coding, design, and teamwork. I am so proud of their hard work and dedication and their contributions to New Jersey, and I am excited to see what they will accomplish next. Mr. Speaker, I rise to celebrate Salih, a New Jersey 10th student at West Orange High School who received a perfect score on the SAT this year. Less than 1% of SAT test takers earn a perfect score each year, and Salih's accomplishment is nothing short of extraordinary. His SAT preparation was largely self-directed, relying on free resources and using his time and determination to study for the exam. Beyond academics, he is deeply involved in extracurricular activities at West Orange High School. He has been a dedicated member of the cross-country and track teams since 7th grade and spent 2 seasons on the color guard. Salih is also the president of the math team, chapter president of the National Honor Society, a varsity chess team member, and part of the Royal Strings Ensemble. His involvement in multiple activities and honor societies speaks to his well-rounded excellence. After graduating high school, he hopes to attend Harvard and study law. Any school would be lucky to have a bright young mind.